He will be indicating how his ministry plans to fund the 3.02 trillion shilling budget, and this is likely to be through a raft of new taxes as well as loans in the country. But we'll be looking at how Kenyans feel about this. Our reporters are stationed all across the country to give you live details as we anticipate that budget reading at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Stanley Mbichu will be joining us live from Murang'a with the expectations of residents there. We also have Tobias Chanji stationed in Mombasa to give us a coastal perspective as the budget is unveiled today. Mark Namaswa is keeping an eye for us in the Nairobi Central Business District, and Malika Kazia is live for us from Parliament, where the budget will be unveiled this afternoon. Let's take a look now at what else you yourself are expecting. And we're asking you on our Twitter poll question this morning, what are your expectations in today's budget? What are your expectations in today's budget? Just speak to us. The hashtag is KTN News Center. You can also speak to us directly at Michelle Ngele or at KTN News Kenya. Well, let's now take a look at what is happening on the ground in Parliament. Malika Kazia joins us live with the expectations there. Malika, good morning. A big day there for the country, with the National Treasury set to lay out this budget. But what is expected? How is the National Treasury likely to fund this 3.02 trillion shilling budget?
Yes, a very good morning, Michelle. It is this day, the budget day. It's finally come, and we are here, of course, bringing you all the latest details from Parliament. And like you mentioned earlier, the budget has been estimated to be at 3.02 trillion. Now, that is already a mammoth amount, but the deficit has been estimated to already have, been at about 607 billion shillings. Now, in order to ensure that this deficit is covered, already we do know that from external financing, they're expected to take on about 324.3 billion, from domestic borrowing about 289 billion shillings. So if we look at the budget when it comes to the consolidated fund service, about 805.8 billion is supposed to go towards that, and that means a majority of that amount, 805 billion, is going to go to debt repayment. So it almost seems like we are digging one hole to fill another at this point, almost a catch-22 situation where you have the deficit that you need to fill. You've already allocated such a major chunk of the existent money in order to repay the existent debt, and we keep on getting more to fill the deficit. So it's almost a catch there in terms of how this is going to play out, and we'll see what the CS has to say, of course, during the reading today. But another thing that we're expecting to go up in terms of how they're going to ensure that they meet the amount that they require in terms of how they've outlined the budget is, of course, tightening on taxes. Now, KRA's target as of 2018-2019 budget was about 1.69 trillion shillings. As of April 30th, they had about 1.6 trillion. So we are expecting that KRA is going to tighten the noose on a lot of factors, including the basics like customs duty. We look at VAT, we look at income tax as well. And that is going to pinch the pockets of Kenyans, and in a lot of ways, especially when we look at the SMEs and when we look at online businesses, there has been some indication, there have been some jitters that perhaps this will be the next phase that is going to be taxed. Now, online businesses, SMEs especially, are a way that majority of youth are trying to ensure that they fill in, the gaps when it comes to unemployment, where they are trying to gainfully earn a living through these means. So is that also now going to come under a lot of pressure with the added tax implications that we are expecting? We will see how that plays out as well. But also when it comes to import duties and it comes to, materials coming into the country, it's again supposed to be something that the KRA will focus on in order to ensure that they're able to meet this mammoth target that the Treasury expects it to fill in terms of accumulating revenues to fuel the budget. But if we look at some of the other allocations, we look at the counties especially, we're seeing about 371.6 billion is to be allocated to counties. Just this week, we did have representatives from the counties saying that for the devolved devolved units to function at their optimum, for them to serve the purpose that they were intended to, they need to ensure that they have adequate funding for them to be able to manage that. So we will see whether or not they are happy with the allocations that come through for these devolved units. But another point that has been noted majorly is the fact that we have recurrent expenditure, and there is a lot of money that has been allocated for that. And it seems that that treadmill continues to go, where we are servicing debt, we are having recurrent expenditures. So then how are we going to grow further? Is it just going to put even more pressure on Kenyans with regards to taxes? But are we going to see the results that are required to sustain the level of spending and level of debt accumulation that the government has already been used to? Michelle.
Right, and Malika, even as we take a look at that, what do the top four, the big four priority areas for President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration there get? Affordable housing, manufacturing, universal healthcare, as well as food security.
Yes, absolutely. The Big Four agenda is also set to get about 450 billion shillings off the budget. Things like manufacturing, we've seen estimated to receive about 125 billion shillings. And especially when it comes to the goals that have been set out for things like manufacturing, they wanted to contribute about 15% to the GDP. Right now, it's about contributing 8.2%. And already, manufacturers from various sectors have talked about things that they need to tighten in order to ensure that manufacturing within the country is actually sustainable. It's actually something that can be sustained throughout in order to keep on generating this amount of revenue that it is expected to. So already within the budget, if we're seeing manufacturing set to get 125 billion, then definitely we expect that it's going to bolster that industry and sort of feed back to the GDP and fuel the economy as well. But there's also the issue of currency. Aside from the Big Four, the issue of currency, and a major amount that the CBK wants to lock down on is that which is out of the system. That is the things they've done by discontinuing the 1,000 shilling note by October, that they're trying to tighten that circulation of perhaps even counterfeit money within the system, and to ensure that we're having that smooth flow. So already we have seen some sort of measures come into play in order to ensure that the money within circulation is regulated, it is actually tangible in terms of the economic growth that we're expecting to feel. And other factors of the Big Four agenda that we have seen, of course, will receive a major chunk include affordable healthcare. Now, already if you have Kenyans on average earning about minimum wage at 13,000 basically, and they have to chip in so much when it comes to extraneous health circumstances, it is very, very precarious for them to be able to maintain that. So already the allocations to the Big Four agenda we are seeing are going to be mammoth, and that will hopefully improve the quality of life for ordinary Kenyans. But at the same time, are we seeing that the noose that KRA will tighten on Kenyans is going to be counterproductive? So it's almost this tedious balance that we want to see how it will play out in the budget today.
Malika, finally, when taking a look at this year's budget, a mammoth figure there, like you mentioned, but it is still a 4.2% reduction compared to last year's budget, or the previous budget rather. So Kenyans would then expect that taxation, for example, and the cost of living would still go down. Explain this irony to us now that Kenyans are expecting, tougher times ahead to finance this budget.
All right. Yeah, totally. I think there are a lot of Kenyans who are expecting doom and gloom from this year's budget, although, like you said, there is a slight reduction comparatively. Although we are seeing that this is possibly the highest budget that we have seen since independence. And I think in a lot of sense, Kenyans themselves are waiting to see how it will play out for them in a lot of areas, whether we're talking taxes, whether we're talking day-to-day, expenditure and inflation. If we talk about inflation, we have seen it go up to 5.4% as of May this year. Already the cost of living, commodities has gone up there. Whether you're looking at fuel, whether you're looking at sugar, you're seeing a lot of rises in so many areas that ordinary Kenyans need to access in order to ensure that they're living a quality of life that is fair and that is good. So I think the overall emotional climate for Kenyans before the budget is anxious, and they're waiting to see how else, whether or not the expectations from how the budget is going to play out is going to be something that's going to reduce the cost of living or not, and we'll see how that plays out already in light of the inflation rates that we have seen going up.
Malika Kazia live for us from Parliament. Let's take you live to the coastal region now, where Tobias Chanji is on standby for us, still with reactions from Kenyans on the expectations on today's budget. Chanji, good morning. What do the residents of Mombasa have to say?
A very good morning, Michelle. As you understand, the backbone of the coast economy is tourism. But of course, we also have other sectors like the SMEs that complement each other. Where I'm studying right now is Kongoya Market, which is among the largest markets in the entire of East Africa. And as you can see behind me, those are people, sellers just hawking their clothes here. And one thing that is surprising is that since morning that we've been here, we have more sellers than buyers, and most of the sellers that we've engaged previously are saying that the expectations are high in today's budget reading, although most of them, their concern has been the much appetite that the Kenyan government has been using to borrow money. But now let me just engage them, some of them, just hear their reactions towards the Kenyan economy and also towards this day, as we're expecting the CS Rotich to go read the budget. Karibu katika mahojiano yetu moja kwa moja ya KTN. Tuambie majina yako ni nani?
Kwa majina anaitwa Charles Maundu Sami, muuzaji wa Kongoya Market.
Naam. Hapa kidogo naona kuna nguo ambazo unauza, nguo aina na aina. Labda kuanzia asubuhi umeuza nguo ngapi?
Hakuna chochote nishauza.
Naam. Na matarajio yako ni yapi kulingana na bajeti ambayo itasomwa hii leo?
Matarajio yangu ni kuwa at least tupate kitu. Kama sisi wauzaji tumeadhirika sana pakubwa sana. Kama saa hii nauza nguo hapa, imebidi niuze 30 juu hakuna makastomers. Hata ukiambia mtu 50 hata nunua juu ana huo uwezo wa kununua hiyo 50.
Shukran. Then let me just engage another seller here. Remember, these are second hand clothes stalls. Karibu katika mahojiano yetu moja kwa moja ya KTN News. Tuambie majina yako ni yapi na unajishughulisha na nini hapa kwa sasa?
Justus zangu Mokoli, muuzaji wa Kongoya Market. Hapa niko na tights saa hii naziuza 100, of which hazifai kuwa 100. Tumeteremsha kwa sababu ya budget yenye tumesikia, of which inatarajiwa kuwa high na wananchi watakuwa affected sana.
Labda unatarajia lipi lingine kutoka katika waziri akisoma bajeti yake?
Natarajia hiyo budget kama ingewezekana iwe imepungua kidogo ili hata sisi wananchi tuwe sawa.
Okay, shukran. Mama, nawe pia labda tupatie majina yako. Tunaona wewe ni mnunuzi, umekuja kununua, labda umekuja kununua nini na nini, alafu tupatie matarajio yako vile vile hii siku ya leo ambapo bajeti inasomwa. Tuanze na majina yako.
Kwa majina naitwa Martha. Mimi ni mlanguzi, nakuja kuchukua, naenda kuuza.
Si mlanguzi wa dawa za kulevya?
Na mitumba nakuja kuchukua. Tunakuja tunauziwa tight hata 100 na sisi tunauza 150. Lakini hakuna makastoma bwana, tunabangaiza tu hivyo.
Hivyo matarajio yako ya leo wakati serikali itakwenda peana bajeti yake ni yapi? Labda unataka ni mambo yapi yateremshwe katika bajeti hii?
Tunataka watupunguzie, yani gharama imekuwa juu. Mapato yamekuwa hata chini, yani by the way budget imekuwa juu sana. Tunaomba atupunguzie na atuangalie kama hawa watu wa nani ndogo biashara ndogo hii. Sisi tuna shida kweli.
Okay, sawa. That's one of the brokers who just also come here at Kongoya Market to buy clothes, and as he says, she buys at 100 bob, then goes and sells at 150. But just like any other seller here, she's also complaining of the hard economic times. We also get someone here, just majina yako, alafu tueleze unauza nini na nini hapa?
Majina langu ni Onesmus Kisilu. Nauza mifuko. Hilo unaniona nimekaa nayo.
Nimekuwa hapa tangu asubuhi, lakini kila nikikuona nimekuona ukinywa tu chai na chapati. Labda ni kwa nini? Kuna wanunuzi ama kuja kwa wanunuzi?
Na kunywa chai na chapati kwa vile hakuna wanunuzi. Hakuna watu wale tunaona ni wale wanauza, hatuoni wa kununua. Hali ni ngumu, maisha ni magumu.
Kwa siku wewe uuza mifuko mingapi?
Naweza kuuza 2 moja, inategemea.
Na siku nzuri?
Siku nzuri 5, 8. Maisha ni magumu kwa sababu si kama pile kitambo. Life imekuwa ngumu zaidi.
Hivyo matarajio yako ya leo yatakuwa ni yapi?
Ya leo ni matarajio ya leo ni nipate, nikose, yani kila siku matarajio ni kupata ukose.
Na mnauliza kulingana na bajeti ambayo itasomwa mida ya saa 8:30 leo.
Hiyo bajeti naona hata haifai kusoma, maana yake inatuumiza. Inaendelea na tuweka chini kiasi ya kiwango ya chini kabisa. Afadhali wasome budget, at least waangalie vitu kama unga iteremke, vitu kama zile za chakula za common man ziwe ziko chini, lakini sasa wakipandeza hizo vitu maisha yanazidi kuwa juu.
Na baadhi ya Wakenya ambao pia tumezungumza nao wanasema pia wana wasiwasi na deni ambalo nchi ya Kenya, taifa la Kenya imekuwa ikikopa. Labda wasiwasi wako pia uko sawia na wao?
Wasiwasi wangu wao, kwa manake naona hata sehemu tunauzia itakuja pia kuwe maisha ni magumu, manake hiyo deni ni kubwa, inatuumiza sisi wananchi wa kawaida. Manake ile kulipa ile ushuru pia na maisha pila yako yanatuweka down, yanatuweka chini, maisha yanakuwa magumu zaidi.
Naam. Kisha kuna mama hapa, tupatie majina yako na unayokimbia. Mama, habari yako? Tuelezee unauza nini hapa, alafu tupatie matarajio yako kulingana na bajeti ambayo itasomwa hii leo.
Kwa majina naitwa Purity. Nauza nguo za watoto hizi hapa.
Na biashara iko vipi?
Biashara yendi vizuri. Kwa siku naweza uza nguo 2 ama 3 sababu economy ya Kenya imekuwa juu.
Na labda ungetaka kitu gani kifanywe katika uchumi wa Kenya ili kuhakikisha kuwa labda bidhaa zako unazouza zimekuwa ni nyingi?
Kitu cha kwanza ni tupunguziwe unga wa sima. Usungu umeenda juu sana. Sima.
Unga wa sima ndio unataka kupunguziwe?
Toa chapati peke yake, sababu unga wa chapati ndio umebaki, mwananchi anaweza afford kununua size mali imefikia. Na petroli pia ikishuka nayo tunajua uchumi utakuwa uko sawa.
Asante sana. Well, those are some of the sellers giving us their sentiments concerning the today's budget that's supposed to be read by the CS Rotich as from 2:30 p.m. Today. And most of them, as you've heard, are saying that the economic times are very hard, and they're expecting that the government is not going to raise the tax as it has been in other previous year. Now from Mombasa, we'll be keeping tabs here to bring you more stories concerning the budget reading today. But as from now, I hand you over to Stanley Mbichu in Murang'a. Stanley Mbichu, over to you.
Well, thank you very much and good morning from across the country. Michelle Ngele from County 021. We will be sampling some of these expectations from members of, or rather, County Assembly of Murang'a. And of course, it is the 7th budget reading in the administration of the Jubilee government. And of course, without much further ado, I would like to invite the majority leader, County Assembly of Murang'a, to sample to us some of his expectations ahead of the budget reading by the Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich. Thank you very much for making time for KTN News. What are your expectations in today's budget?
Thank you very much. My name is Eric Kimani. I'm the majority leader Murang'a County Assembly. Now, in today's National Assembly budget reading, I expect, or we expect as the Assembly and also the people of Murang'a, that one, the big 4 agendas of the Jubilee administration will be well allocated because we know we are already finishing the first 2 years of the Jubilee administration. So in the coming 3 years, we expect that the allocation to those big agendas will be properly done, so that they will be the president will be able to achieve the dream of the Jubilee administration. So we expect that all those agendas are going to be funded properly, and allocation will be quite good to be able to forge our hand and see to it that the programs are done the benefit of our people.
How has the county government of Murang'a cascaded the Big Four agenda in its proposed budget that was passed anonymously by the County Assembly of Murang'a, 8.9 billion shillings against 2019-2020 proposed bill of 8.9 billion against the current bill of 8.8 billion? How have you cascaded the Big Four agenda at in Murang'a County?
Oh, okay, thank you very much. The budget that we passed as the County Assembly of Murang'a, we much reflected on the Big Four agendas, because the national government cannot maybe facilitate the implementation and the funding. So as the county government, we passed a budget that we saw to it that the allocation to the Big Four agendas, right from the manufacturing, right from the affordable housing, the universal care, health care, and also the food security were well allocated and catered for. So as a county government of Murang'a, we are set. After we pass the appropriation bill, we will be set to make sure that we implement the Big Four agendas of the Jubilee administration.
And the counties have been allocated 314 billion shillings, and of course priorities have to be placed. What are the priorities and the budget allocations in the county of in Murang'a County in the budget that you passed anonymously at the assembly?
Okay, thank you very much. Our first priority is we know Murang'a is an agricultural land. So our first priority is to make sure that we have factored agriculture as priority number one. Then priority number two is health. Basically, those are the two main items, because in agriculture, that is where you'll find that we have the value addition, we have coffee, we have milk, we have avocado, we have other food items, and that we will boost the food security in our county. Also, the issue of health. We have the issue of healthcare as one of the Jubilee administration. So we have factored enough money, enough allocation for that purpose, so that our people will be healthy, and a healthy nation is a healthy nation.
Most views from the public collected across the country is that the budget, the 3 trillion budget, may now Kenyans may cough more through taxation. Perhaps what the recurrent expenditure of the county, how much have you put in or proposed in your budget, in the recurring budget, and are you foreseeing perhaps the recurring budget with the views of many Kenyans and opinion that the recurring budget money gets lost and such like fears? How much has been placed in the recurring budget in the county of Murang'a?
Thank you very much. First of all, it is important, Bwana Stanley, to understand that we make different budgets. So the sets of budget are very different, because the county government makes its budget, the national government has its budget. So what we collaborate much is the programs and the activities that the national government intend to do together with the county government. For example, the agendas, the Big Four agendas of the Jubilee administration. But in matters of the wage bills and such, the county government has its wage bills. So as the county government, we have factored our bills in the budget that we passed. The national government must also make sure that it incorporates some figures or some money for that purpose, because we understand as the national government we are so much pending bills, and we should make sure that we look for avenues whereby we are going.
Well, I apologize for that faulty connection there. There is a standing beach live for us from Murang'a. We'll be getting back there to see what residents there have to say today. But let's take you left to the Nairobi Central Business District now, where Mark Namaso is also sampling expectations of Kenyans ahead of the budget reading this afternoon. Namaso, good morning.
Good morning. Now, I have been speaking to Kenyans from all walks of life, and they've been telling me about the economy, what they expect concerning the budget. I've just been speaking to one gentleman who tells me he does some farming and some business, and he comes from Kericho County. So he'll be telling us what he thinks about the economy, how things have been running, and even as we expect the budget to be read today. Tueleze, unaitwa nani na unatoka wapi?
Mimi naitwa Kiblangat Soy, na mimi natoka upande wa Kericho. Yep.
Budget inasomwa leo. ukiangalia matarajio yako ni yapi? Wapi serikali iguseguse mambo ya kuwa afadhali?
Kama leo budget ya leo itakaposomwa, tungesema kwamba vitu ya dukani iteremushwe. Ndio hii mwananchi wa kawaida apate kitu kidogo au ambao anaweza kugharamia kwa maisha yake. Yeah. So inakuwa ni vigumu sana kwa maisha ambao ni siku hizi. Unga iko juu, sukari iko juu, mafuta iko juu. Pia tukikuja sasa kwa upande wa mafuta ya gari, tunaona ya kwamba hatuwezi kufanya biashara mzuri kwa sababu bei ya mafuta iko juu, gharama ya transport iko juu sana. Yeah.
Wewe naona umeona miaka kadhaa. Hebu tueleze kwa maybe kijana anasikiza leo ama anakutazama kwa sasa. Tuseme kama 1990 ama 1980, lita moja ya petrol ilikuwa ngapi na saizi ni ngapi?
Wakati wa 80s mafuta ilikuwa 50, mpaka kwa 90s hapo ikakuwa kitu kama 60 something. Na bei ya sasa tukisema ya kwamba iko 120 kama upande wa ule tunanunua na 120. Sasa hapo unaona ni bei imesonga zaidi. Na tungeomba sana bei ya mafuta iteremushwe kwa sababu ina affect maisha ya mtu ya kawaida au kila mtu mwananchi ya kawaida. Yeah.
Tukitazama watu ambao wamekuwa kwa historia wanasema 69 was a good year, 1969 was a good year. Hata kuna singers wanasema hivyo. Yeah. Which era according to you mambo ya economy yalikuwa sawa?
Mimi nikisema kidogo mambo ya economy wakati tuseme retired president Mwai Kibaki ambao alikuwa finance minister wakati huo, tulikuwa naona maisha ilikuwa mzuri sana na inflation haikuweko vile sasa iko hivi. So naomba sasa serikali hii ya Jubilee ifikirie sana, irudishe vitu mingi ikuje chini ndio wananchi waweze kupata hata angalau mkate ya kukula. Yeah.
Budget yetu inapita 3 trillion. Na ukitazama it's the biggest budget in the history of East and Central Africa. Yeah. Do you think our size of budget matches the living standards za an ordinary man?
Hapo ndio kitu ambao tunaona ya kwamba imelete uchumi ikue mbaya kwa sababu sisi wananchi walipa kodi tunazidi kuwekelewa mzigo ambao imekuwa zaidi ambao hatuwezi kumudu hiyo gharama. Tukikombea na kwamba wakati ule tulikuwa nasumzia mamilioni ya pesa. Ukisema pengine 100 million ilikuwa budget ya wakati ule. Na sasa ukizungumzia 2 trillion na kitu, inakuwa kitu kingine ngumu sana kwa maisha. So ningeomba wajumbe au Minister for Finance wafikirie sana, waangalie hii budget, wa escalate the budget ikuje chini. Yeah.
Shukran sana.
Yeah. Asante sana mwanahabari.
That's one of our senior citizens who has been giving us a historical perspective of how the budget and the economy has been doing ever since the 80s, the 90s, through to date. Back to you.
Many thanks. That is Mark Namaso live for us from the Central Business District. Let's take a short break now on News Center. But KTN News will continue giving you the whole story on the 2019-2020 budget. When we come back, we'll have an